for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K, on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K, on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K, on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K, on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K, on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K, on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K, on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K, on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K, on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche And after 22 years, Raymond Mark!
The sickest NHL podcast. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test here on the Sick Podcast Network and to On Campus Friday. Today we will be talking to Harvard men's hockey head coach Ted Donato, former NHLer as well. Looking forward to that. He'll be joining us in a few seconds here. But Pierre McGuire, how are you, my friend?
I'm very well. In fact, I just strolled by Coach Donato's office over there in Cambridge, walking and running by the Charles River. It's a little cold
All
today.
right. Yeah,
chilly.
it is. It's starting to feel like mid-November. We were blessed with some Indian summer here in the Northeast, but I think the weather's finally settling in. But listen, you know what that means, though? That means good college hockey. And one team that's just getting their season really underway here, they start a little later in the ECAC than the other schools, is the Harvard Crimson. And joining us right now is their head coach, Ted Donato.
Hey, guys.
Coach,
What's
how are
happening?
you? How we doing?
He's dressed for winter. Look at him. He's dressed for
I know.
winter.
That's good. Coach, speaking of weather, I don't know what it will be, but I'm looking forward to the weather in Belfast in a couple of weeks where we'll be with you for the Friendship Four. How excited are you for that?
Yeah, it's amazing. It seemed like it was so far away for a long time, and now it's right around the corner. So very exciting. I think, to have an opportunity kind of in season to have a trip like this, play against a team like, Notre Dame, have other teams there like BU and Merrimack. I think it's just an amazing opportunity. I had a chance to go in September for a couple days to do a little bit of a site visit. And it's a great facility. Really had a great amount of respect for the people that organize and run the event. And I think it's an opportunity to create a really special memory for our team.
How many parents and alumni do you think Teddy will be going to support the Crimson?
I think there's a pretty good crew. I think, obviously with it being, Thanksgiving in the States on that weekend or that Thursday, it's not an easy, trip for a lot of people. But I know that we have a big turnout on the Wednesday night previous. We're going to try to do a little U.S. Thanksgiving celebration, and those numbers are pretty healthy. So I think there's a good group of people coming, people taking their families over, and I expect to be there'll be a little bit of a Boston invasion with with BU and Merrimack there as well.
A Boston invasion in Belfast. Go figure. Teddy, I did hear, I heard from some people. I spoke to some people who were with you when you went over there to kind of check things out. And the reviews were good. They're looking for, actually, one person who remained unnamed referred to you as the new mayor of Belfast. So you've already got a good name for yourself over there, my friend.
Well, if I was guessing, it might be the Lord Mayor of Hockey East, that I had given him that title over there after he weighed in on all the all the culture in Belfast. And it was really it's really an amazing place. Growing up here in Boston, right. I feel like I was close to a lot of that news, if you will, but
troubles,
having the troubles and having had the chance to be there last week as a group, we had Joe Kennedy III and Michael McElroy, who's a kind of world-renowned environmental scientist who served with one of the I think with Al Gore at one point. And he's from Belfast. And so, really to have, those two guys give our group, our team, an opportunity to, listen to some of the history, to ask questions. I think it just kind of lit the fire for our guys about how excited we are to go over there, enjoy all this, cultural history. And I don't think we'll have any problem staying dialed in to play a couple hockey games and really get after it.
How do you prepare your team to go over with all the time zone travel? Because these are college kids that don't do a lot of time zone travel like you and I used to do in the National Hockey League. It's a little different.
Yeah, I think, we're fortunate enough to have some days between. We go over there early enough where, it should allow us to recover. I think in general, they say it takes a day, a day for every hour of time difference to really, get acclimated. I think for us, we're all the teams will be in the same boat. I think we got to really kind of, take some steps to make sure we're getting the proper rest. And, although it's a great opportunity to experience some culture and some history and some travel. At the same time, we're not going to get away from the fact that this is a trip that we have a chance to play two really important, exciting hockey games, and we'll do everything we can to be our best at that time.
Coach, we've talked to other people that have been over there and participated in this and that are going. And one of the common themes we've gotten is that this tournament has, and actually not just this tournament, but the Belfast Giants who host it, hockey has become a sport there that unites both sides of Belfast. And unfortunately, there is still some division there, but hockey is sort of this outlet that brings these fans together and they forget everything else and they just cheer together. How great do you think that experience will be for your kids, and your players to be part of that?
Yeah, I think that's a real interesting point, Murph, and one that I really probably didn't appreciate until having gone over there, having listened to to Professor McElroy, listening to Joe Kennedy III. Hockey is viewed as a neutral sport over there, where not all of the sports are necessarily. I think if my memory's correct, if you're on the Catholic side, more likely to play Gaelic Gaelic football, versus on the one of the shared sports I think is rugby, but there's not as many shared sports. It's kind of it's kind of how it's separated a little bit over there, and hockey is seen as a neutral sport. And when we went over there, Steve Thornton is the coach over there. Went to Boston University with my younger brother, Danny. So have some familiarity there. I think he's got a daughter at Dartmouth that's running track now, and another one it's quite a talented field hockey player that's looking east again, for school. But it's they really have got quite a following over there, and they have a bunch of kids. I think the next step for them locally is to try to get another skating facility, another rink, so that they can capture some of the excitement that they've created over there from their successful teams. And I think to be able to go to Belfast and play in a world-class arena, play against really high-end teams and have a great crowd, I mean that's really a blessing and something we're really looking forward to.
Teddy, this is kind of a blip in the season because Harvard starts a little later, like Jimmy correctly said, and you got a lot of big games. I mean, you've got some big challenges, especially in the Beanpot coming up, which are the first 2 months of February. So this is another one of those. So I got to think it's a little shock to some of your younger player systems just being thrown into this time and time again. Do you see that as a coach being a helpful thing?
I think so. I think in order to win, you got to be able to deliver in those high pressure situations. You got to be able to deliver, in sometimes stranger situations. You get to the NCAA tournament. I know a couple of years ago we played I think it was like a 12:30 game. Which we hadn't played weekday game all year. Sometimes, you might play a night and a day. So, to me, I like to expose our guys to this. It's one of the reasons when we have had the opportunity to play at Madison Square Garden, I always thought it was great because, it was an opportunity for our guys to play in the type of atmosphere that you would need to have success in to win anything, and I think whether it's the ECAC championship, the Bean Pot, the NCAA tournament. These are all hosted in, big time facilities. And I think this is another opportunity to put a lot of pressure. And, these 4-team tournaments, are no different than the Bean Pot. They're no different than, an NCAA regional. No different than an ECAC Final Four. So, these are great opportunities. And, if you're a hockey player, you want to play in these kind of, high spotlight events. And so for me, I think it's a great thing.
Just to follow that up too, as you were talking, I thought of this. I wonder too, does it help? Sometimes the season can be a grind and drags on. And I wonder, do tournaments like that help break up the monotony and kind of wake the kids up if they need it, maybe in the dog days of the season?
I think so. It's a long year, right? We start practice, and end practice, probably the longest season, unless you're a multiple track athlete, of any college sport. It's a very long season. So in order to, really stay dialed in and be fresh, both physically and mentally, when you have chances to win things, and I know Jerry York used to always say, trophy season, that kind of stuff. But in order, to have an opportunity to be able to win some things along the way, whether it's, the, Friendship Four or the Bean Pot, the Ivy League, the ECAC, those are all opportunities to chase success. And I think, as any athlete would tell you, it's nice to have something real important to play for.
Speaking of winning, you're coming off 2 huge wins, a big win at Princeton and obviously a huge win at Quinnipiac, 3-0 the other night on Saturday night. What's gotten your team out of the gate so well in the ECAC?
Yeah, I think, we have a lot of internal competition for the first time in a couple of years, and I think that's helped. Last year, we were just, with a few early departures, along with a huge senior class the year before, coupled with, a really tough, injury season. We had a lot of guys that were on the sidelines. We thought a strength of a team could have been our defense, but when we had guys like Ian Moore and Jack Barr and Kyle LeCoyne that missed large percentages of the season, it made it challenging. And now we seem to have a pretty healthy lineup. We have great competition to play every night, and that that sets the standard high in practice. And I think that we're off to a good start, but I feel like in some ways we're relearning how to win again, and put the value on on the proper things so that we can have success. But it's a fun group. I think they're excited. I think we have a lot of room to grow. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time to grow because, every weekend seems like, we got great challenges. Just in the next 3 games, we play, Colgate and then Cornell and UMass. So, there's really, not the time frame you'd like to have to, keep improving and learning. But, that's it's a lot of fun. And, I think our guys are kind of up to the challenge so far.
Hey, Jimmy, just so you know, after they play UMass, they get to play Notre Dame. They get to play Notre Dame. Just
the first game in Belfast. Yeah, I saw that on the schedule. That should be fun. Hey, Ted, I noticed you guys, you got the Hayduk brothers playing on the team. And 2 questions for that. and forgive me for not having enough time to do the research, but did you play with, or, did you form a relationship with Milan over the years? And also, what's it like when you bring in kids that had dads who played NHL hockey? Do they understand, about being a pro, so to speak? Do you see them sort of learn that a little earlier sometimes than other players?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question. I think first off, my relationship with with Milan would have been me grabbing the puck out of the net after he scored against us. Not really. I did play against him. Had a great amount of respect. He was on some great
Oh yeah, he was amazing.
Colorado Avs teams. But really, they came onto the map. Marek played on the U.S. national program. And so that was kind of, our first, real viewings. Watched him play a little bit midget hockey in, in Denver, outside, in Colorado. But, I think as far as the NHL, sons of NHL players, I think there's a couple things that are going on. One, I think that first and foremost, a lot of these guys are, know how fortunate they were to be able to get to the National Hockey League. They know how difficult it is. They know how many pitfalls there are. And so they look at it as a chance to have both things, going in the right direction, have go get a great education at the same time, play really competitive hockey and develop on that side. The only thing I would say, is sometimes these NHL players, kids develop a little bit later because, the guys are so, dialed into their careers.
Right.
So sometimes, there's more upside there because they come on a little bit later in general. But, for me, I don't put too much thought into it. I'm just trying to get the best team, the best fit, the best players,
Right.
the best student athletes, to have success both on and off the ice here. It just happens that, we've had some guys that have also had dads that, have played at the highest levels.
One of the interesting things now for coaches is going to be the potential of major junior players. I don't think it'll affect most of the Ivy League teams. I do think it's a potential to affect your team in a positive way. Have you guys thought at all about going down that road?
Yeah, so it's kind of new. We've seen it, certainly, coming down the line. I think there's still at some point will probably be some kind of guardrails just to kind of explain exactly what all the rules are, and it gets pretty complicated, Pierre, because there's CBA issues and all sorts of stuff. But it'll be interesting. I mean, I think that it's. I can't say that I was really at the forefront of understanding this, but for us, we're gonna it's just another pool of of players, student athletes that we would have access to. So we'll have to expand our recruiting and ultimately, as far as the effect on the Ivies, I think the Ivies have really tried to stay true to kind of who they are as far as how we build our roster. So while there's a bigger pool of players, I think the ones that will be exciting to us and our admissions would be ones that qualify, and are good student athletes. And so we'll see what happens with it. I think that it looks like August of next summer will be kind of the beginning of the actual players crossing over. But it'll be very interesting, and I think that in some ways we'll kind of reset the junior hockey field a little bit.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm working on a story about this, guys, and I spoke to an agent about this, and he said basically the same thing. Like, he's a little worried, and I think we mentioned this last week, Pierre, when we had Scott Boric on, that it's going to really hurt some of the junior leagues here. Because it's going to take away from the recruiting that might have been done there, because it's opening up so many more areas for colleges to recruit. So that was one of the things he was worried about, just because he's formed relationships with a lot of these coaches and teams over the years. Do you agree with that assessment there, Ted?
Well, I think, Pierre has a better handle, very much a better handle on major junior hockey than I do. But I think there's always unintended consequences, right? So if, some will argue that, major junior will now have, much, much, say a bigger group of Americans that want to go up there, and play in a high profile league. Okay, well that could make major junior, stronger. Does it, the unintended consequences, does that come, at the expense of, more Canadians, playing major junior hockey? If there's more Americans, somebody's not playing, right? In the same respect in college hockey, if there's more, quality players coming from major junior, does that take opportunities away from, American players that were playing in U.S. junior hockey? These are all kind of yet to be determined, but I think that those top leagues have done a great job at developing kids. I don't think that'll change necessarily. It'll be interesting to see, kind of how the the age dynamic of this all figures into it. Does major junior become home of more, even a higher end of talent, but are they, a little bit younger? How does the U.S. national program fit into this? There's already rumors that there's, a few USHL teams that would be, would be considered, say, for the OHL. So there's a lot of moving parts here. For us, in some ways, the mission doesn't change. We're going to go out and try to get the best student athletes that, have, both the, academics and the athletic talent to have success here. It just, maybe the field is a little bigger to pick from.
Last night, I got a call from an NHL president of a Western Conference team, and he was asking me my take about this whole thing. But Coach Donato said, Jimmy, he's spot on a lot of the ideology. So I agree with Teddy on that. Here's where I think is going to be a problem. I think prep schools are going to have a big problem. Big problem for prep schools. Whether it's Shattuck, St. Mary's, Culver Military Academy, Belmont Hill, Dexter, Northwood, they're going to have a problem. I'm telling you, long term, because the best players are going to do exactly what Coach said. They're going to explore other options. I think there are teams in the USHL that are going to have big problems.
I think some of it, Pierre, might be also tied into, these, a place like Shattuck. They have a track record of, being able to not only develop kids but also have that academic mix. They have kids going all over, over the country. And so, does, do these Canadian junior teams, find that mix? And is it, as interesting to them to, promote, high-end student athletes, versus just high-end hockey players? You'd like to think so. There's one of the other things, Murph, is that, like, they have this whole student package, right? That major junior, how is that affected? Is that enough of a positive if you're a major junior team to, offset the fact that you could be losing some guys that you might have kept otherwise for 3 years, and maybe now it's 2 years? I don't know. I mean, I think Pierre probably has a lot better feel on that than I do, but there's no question that there's going to be a window, of maybe 18 and 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds that college and major junior will be competing for the same players. And what's that look like, and the reality is, on the NCAA side, there's a lot of, I don't know a better term, but there's a lot of bureaucracy that you deal with. Whereas, major junior, I think just in general, is a lot more, has a larger ability to move quickly and make the adjustments that they feel they need. And we'll see how the NHL also views this, because, quite frankly, I think, this notion, or this, I guess, ruling that, you could only play, you had to make a decision on a kid, after, 10 games. I think originally, Pierre, you have a great handle on the history of it. It was there to protect these major junior franchises that were, that were feeding, a huge majority of guys into the National Hockey League. And, and then what does that look like? Does that change? How does training camp go into all this? How does, what exactly is a professional? Some of these can have, some gray areas that, probably at some point are going to need to be, ironed out before everybody's got a great handle on this.
No, those are all really good points. They're really relevant. They're really smart. The one thing I'd say is there are very few 18-year-olds that can play college hockey. Coach knows what I'm talking about. And I use Brady Tkachuk all the time. Brady Tkachuk, his freshman year at BU, had 8 goals. Brady Tkachuk's first year in the NHL, he had 23. It's hard for young guys to play college hockey, and Coach knows what I'm talking about. It's a completely different landscape.
Yeah, I agree. It's, one of the things with, college hockey getting stronger, getting older, basically, in essence, is, from purely a hockey standpoint, the difference between the USHL and the 3 major junior leagues, is not discernible like it once was. I think, you certainly have some top guys, but, and the USHL has the advantage of having, some older guys, right? In general. However, it's, it's certainly not the days, when, say I was in college, where, where it was, you were a long shot if you were an American, regardless of whether you played on the World Junior team, or, or a national team player, or a really good player coming out of a, a hot hockey area. And now I think that, you see these guys getting, similar amounts of game times, similar levels of coaching. So there's really not as much a difference to me. And Pierre, you probably cross watch a lot more than I do, but, and I think it's one of the reasons. I mean, the numbers don't lie. I think, college hockey is up threatening around 35%. I think it's 33, 34% of the National Hockey League. And, if you look at it, that's more than all of Europe coming from college hockey. So
he's spot on. He's so spot on. I'm just going to tell you right now, Jimmy, I know I shared this with you. I haven't shared it with our audience. Coach needs to know this, because we're playing some of these teams. I watched Northeastern play at Denver. I watched Northeastern play against Maine, and I watched Northeastern play against Providence. If you went to watch any of those 6 games that I watched, you'd have a hard time discerning that was not pro hockey. Unless you watched a lot of hockey, you'd have no idea. You just took the sweaters off and just say, go play. And you watch that game in the building, you'd be like, whoa, what's this? And Teddy, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I think the challenge to play college hockey has never been, more difficult, because, guys are older, faster, they got a resume of, playing, you know, 150 games of junior hockey when you consider, you know, if you played 2 years of junior hockey with playoffs, you know, and, you know, a lot of these, you know, places, whether it's the BCHL or the USHL, you know, they've got great resources and facilities and coaches. So, you know, the challenge when these guys get to college hockey is it's more difficult than ever to, you know, even for a high end kid that played, you know, say on the U.S. national program, which has the benefit of playing, you know, 15 odd, you know, Division I college games on top of it. You know, it's more difficult than ever to come in as a 18 and 19-year-old and have an impact. And what you're seeing in some, you know, really, you know, fast, strong hockey, which, quite frankly, you know, is starting to translate more and more at the professional level.
I'll tell you this quick story too, guys, and then we'll let you go, Coach. When I was at the draft this past year and at the Sphere in Vegas, you know, I was talking with one of the security guards, and he had a kid coming up playing hockey in Nevada there around the Vegas area. And he says, he's like, I didn't realize how many kids from college hockey are being drafted, Jimmy. This is insane. Like, he had never really dawned on him. And he said, this is a whole different route. I didn't realize it might be better for my kid. And it is. It's amazing. Like, a lot of people aren't realizing how many more players are getting drafted and drafted high in the draft.
Jimmy, I want
to
defend the coach for a second because he was too kind. He didn't want to say it, so I'm going to say it for him. 2 years ago, Matt Coronado goes to Calgary. LaFerriere goes to LA. You start looking at the roster, he could have lost a couple other guys too. And so my point is that you lose players when you recruit high-end players like Coach does. And I don't think people realize everybody in college hockey is pretty equal. They're kind of in a box. And there's like 3 or 4 that are outside the box. Celebrini is a good example. Cutter Gauthier, Ryan Leonard this year at BC. And if you have those guys, you're going to win a little bit more because everybody, and he lost 2 of them.
Yeah.
He lost 2 of them in 1 year. And Teddy, I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it does make a difference. You know, those you know, X factors, you know, don't unfortunately come along as often as you'd like. You know, and I think just from a grand scheme of it, you know, I think there'd be a lot of people even in, you know, throughout Canada or throughout major junior hockey, you know, if you said to them, you know, how many, you know, draft picks, you know, does, you know, Harvard have? Oh, you know, some of them would say, oh, I don't know, maybe a few. I know they've had a couple players. I mean,
14,
2 years ago, we had 14, right?
14, I know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know all the major junior teams, but I can't imagine there was, you know, a great number of them with, you know, over 10. And that's not, you know, that's not a measuring stick, you know, on a large level, but it just goes to show you the kind of talent that's going into college hockey in general. You look at Boston College, you know, and you know they might last year have had more first and second rounders than than half the American League teams. You know, so I mean, some great recruiting, some great player development. I think these teams are more and more comfortable that these guys can go into college hockey, develop, go to great schools, grow up, maturity wise. And so, I think it's in some ways I think it's a great time for the game of hockey because you have some great development opportunities all over the world.
Hey, Jimmy, before we let the coach go, I want all the listeners out there who's talking about sons of NHL players. Well, his son is one of my favorites, Ryan, and he's got 7 goals so far this year. He's on pace for over 34 goals this year in Chicago. And so I couldn't be more proud of him. He's an amazing man. He just became a dad. And look at that young grandfather. This guy just became a grandfather. And so because of that, you're buying me the first Guinness when we get to Dublin.
Fair enough. I would be more upset if I thought it would be the only Guinness we had. So, I know that. Well, hey guys, thanks for the time, and Pierre, thanks. I know that both Ryan and Bradley are excited about baby their baby girl, Charlie. And I know you've had a great relationship with, with the two of them. And, I see your son, Ryan. I'm very glad that I'm not going to see him Friday night. I'm going to have to wait a little while because that Northeastern. So, you know what? It's, the game is a great game, and I love it. And there's so many great people involved. You guys are doing a great job, and be looking forward to catch up with you guys. Is it at the Harp in Belfast?
Yeah,
Be
but
live at the Harp.
we're gonna have
Yeah.
a little. You know how they have exhibition seasons in hockey. I'm gonna do an exhibition season with you on Monday in Dublin.
All right, let's go. I love it.
Sounds good.
Well,
We'll
thanks
see you
again,
there,
guys.
my friend.
Thanks, Teddy.
All right, Teddy.
Thank you.
Safe travels. We'll talk to you then. All right, Ted
Take care.
Donato joined us here on the eye test. He's great. He's
Listen,
just.
I don't
I've
think
always loved Teddy.
he's too nice. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you the
Yeah.
facts. Last year, if he gets LaFerriere back and he gets Coronado back, he has got a legitimate chance to do some
win it all.
serious damage
Yeah.
in the NCAA
Yeah.
tournament. But he loses them. They're both sophomores. They move on. Wasn't that long ago we had Adam Fox. You start looking at some of the guys he's had that have moved along,
Mhm.
and it's
Pierre,
it's
does that because we see it so much more often now where they are leaving early. How much do you think that increases the stress on recruiting and just getting that depth ready to come in as those guys leave?
That's why I would reconfigure my staff if I was a college coach. And what I would do is I would turn one of those assistant positions into almost like a full-fledged recruiting position. So you're
Right.
director of hockey operations. So you're gauging who's a serious threat to leave to go to a pro team, who's not a serious threat to go to a pro team, who can we get that can replace them quickly? Is there a potential that we may lose more because of academic problems? So I would have somebody whose only job is to be basically a roster asset manager. And so you can give him whatever title you want, or her any title you want. But that's how fast I think college hockey is changing. And I think if you don't create that position internally, you will be left in the fast lane and everybody will pass you on the right. You think you're going fast, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're right by you.
Yeah.
Just telling you.
I'm with you on that. Definitely a great idea. I hope a lot of colleges listen to that. All right, Pierre. Well, he was great there, and I know you did some great college work this week. You were up at Appleton Arena, and then you were at Mullins Center on Thursday. So enjoy the hockey this week. You'll be in the Whittemore Center tonight for your son Ryan against UNH. So looking forward to that, my friend. But until then, this has been another. Oh, yeah. What am I saying? We got to. Yeah, your sponsors. Sorry, getting an interesting text here. I'll tell you about off the air. But anyhow, yes, our great sponsors, Betway. And as I do every Friday on Campus Friday, I'll give you a little college hint, but we'll tell you about Betway first. Betway is the leading global online betting and gaming brand. Follow your gut instinct. Go with Betway. You can go right there to the QR code in front of you. Sign up there, or if you're not watching, just go to their site and you sign up there. Remember, you always have to be 18 plus and bet responsibly. And let me give you my Murph's pick of the day. We got the sick pick graphic there. Well, if not,
It's time for Sick Picks. Brought to you by Betway.
well, all right, Pierre. I'm going to go right to where you are tonight at the Whittemore Center. If you can find it on Betway. I didn't see it as of this morning. However, usually I've noticed they do update their picks at noon. So double check that again. If you can get it, go with Pierre's son there, Northeastern, to go into UNH and win on the money line. That is my sick pick of the day, brought to you by Betway. And Pierre, another great week. I mean, we talked to some great guests. Obviously, Teddy just out there, Billy Guerin, Tom Fitzgerald. I mean, the list goes on. It's just, that was a great week. Really good hockey talk here on the
Phenomenal week, Jimmy. Great job. You think about Mike Keenan, Kenny Holland, Billy Guerin, Tommy Fitz. You start looking at the people that have been coming on. We're so grateful, Jimmy. Really, really grateful. And that trip to Ireland coming up is going to be amazing.
Oh, I can't wait.
You know,
I
whether
can't
it's
wait.
players coming on, whether it's, you know, a management people or coaches coming on, commissioners of leagues coming on. You
Mhm.
know, it's
Yeah,
pretty.
or even just local people from the city and what hockey
yeah,
means to them.
yes. You know,
That's what
Jimmy,
I'm looking.
I'm really excited to just spend time in the community and really meet people at the Harp. And you know, the Harp. Everybody now knows where the Harp is.
Oh
The
yeah.
Harp.
Yep.
I'm so excited, and we should have the name for those that are overseas now. In Dublin on Monday, we should have the name by Monday, this coming Monday,
Yep.
of where we will be working. Just trying to
I'm
fine tune a couple things.
I'm saying, and you know, Pierre, one of the things people have been, you know, texting me or writing me on Twitter that they love about this podcast is the stories, you know, and I'm sure that when we're over in Belfast, maybe some of them won't be proper to be on the air, but some will. And the ones
They'll be all proper. I
we'll
guarantee
get them
they'll be
on.
proper because I'm got a short leash on you.
Oh, I'm not talking about me. I don't want to.
There's
All
one
I'm
motto
saying
you're
is,
going to learn to live by: sleep at night. Nothing
yes.
good happens after 12 o'clock.
Well, that was my grandmother's motto, and she was right. I learned that the hard way at times. But what I'm trying to say is I will never throw anybody under the bus. That's all, Pierre.
That's true.
That's one thing that I've learned being a hockey writer. You know, you judge which ones can go public and which ones are stored away. But it should be a fun time over there. I'm looking forward to it. And, of course, the group at Cara Travel, they've been great. Sarah Stanton, Melita has told us that she will be helping us while we're on the ground there in Belfast. So we're really looking forward to that. And then, like you said, meeting with all the players and the coaches is going to be great. And you can just see that. You can see the excitement so far of all the people we've spoken to that are going to be over there with us. So looking forward to that. We're only about 8 days away now, Pierre, to the Friendship 4 in Belfast. The eye test will be live Monday through Thursday from Dublin and then in Belfast. And you and I will be there. Thanks to our great production crew up in Montreal. Thanks to you, the viewers and listeners. We will talk to you on Monday here in the eye test on the Sick Podcast Network.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the eye test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.